The people of Lam didn't see women as stars, but as instrument for reproduction. They were valued for what their wombs could produce, not their dreams. But there lived a young princess, named Angel. Her father wasn't a king, but he made her his princess. Angel was beautiful, intelligent, smart, and with bright eyes that were filled with hope. Right from a young age, her world was shaped by the presence of her father, Mr. Moses. He wasn't just her father, he was her hero, mentor, closest friend, and her mirror. Mr. Moses was a man who was versed in history. His mind had traveled to places his foot had not stepped on. He had inherited books of diverse knowledge, books in history, technology, cultures, and so many. This knowledge of his made him rich. He was determined to change the narrative for his daughter by taking her to school. To the villagers, Mr. Moses was a wise man, a scholar whose mind roamed far beyond the dusty roads of their village, but they did not care about such knowledge. Some will often say, "Let him do all the reading while we face our farms and learn from him." Whenever he sat with his peers, they always drank from his fountain of wisdom. He often sat under a baobab tree, sharing stories of history, culture, the wisdom of ancestors, and the world at large, as they were captured in the books he inherited from his father. To Angel, these stories were more than words. They were seeds of hope and curiosity planted deep within her heart. "Papa," she would often ask, "why do you read so much when everyone else is working in their fields?" Mr. Moses would smile, placing his hand gently on her head. "Because knowledge shapes the mind, my daughter. It helps us see not just the world, but the possibilities within it. One day you will understand." Her mother, Mrs. Patience, was different, practical and rooted in tradition. Mama saw her husband's intellectual pursuits as a luxury the village could not afford. To her, a woman's purpose was clear: marriage, motherhood, and managing a home. One evening, while preparing dinner, Mama overheard her husband explaining astronomy to their daughter. Shaking her head, she said, "You're filling her head with too many ideas, Moses. What good will these stars do when she needs to be a wife?" Mr. Moses only smiled. "She will find her path." Patience. Let her learn. Angel adored her father's wisdom and often felt misunderstood by her mother. Yet she never allowed it to be a problem between them. Deep down, she believed both parents loved her deeply, just in different ways. Fate, however, is often unkind. One fateful rainy season, Mr. Moses fell ill. The village herbalists came, whispering prayers and mixing herbs, but his time was up. The sickness gets serious day after day. Angel sat by his bedside, holding his hand and reading aloud his favorite books to him. One night he passed. It was a sad moment for Angel and her mother. The tree where he once told his stories stood silent under the storm. The funeral was a quiet one. Men in white robes recited prayers, while the women, veiled and silent, consoling Angel and her mother. But everything had changed. Without her father, the house grew quieter. Mama, too, had retreated into a shell of grief. But unlike her, Angel was determined to move forward with her life. Angel will often occupy herself with lots of books and soak herself in knowledge. Angel had many suitors. She was beautiful, intelligent, smart, and her family was well-to-do, and most of these men saw her as a threat. Others saw her as a battle to win. They would offer her gifts and make promises like, "I will allow you continue with your studies." One evening, Mama told Angel, "You're of age," she said while they were eating. "It's time you consider marriage. A woman cannot sit with books forever." Angel dropped down her spoon gently. "Mama, I am not ready. Most of these men do not match up. They don't see the world like I do. They can't support the kind of dreams I have. These books teach me a lot of things I can share with the children here." Mama got angry. "Books won't keep you warm at night, child. All of this will end in the kitchen. Stop reading these books. Men don't like these things." But Angel was already determined to continue studying. Angel decided to open a bookshop, but it wasn't easy. The villagers were questioning her decision. What do farmers and traders need books for? But the Angel was determined. The shop had beautiful wooden shelves filled with stories. Children came first, drawn by the promise of colorful pictures and tales of distant lands. Then a few curious elders trickled in, captivated by her readings of proverbs and stories. Yet the pressure to marry persisted. Suitors continued to arrive regularly, often accompanied by their mothers, each of them proposing a life they couldn't afford. Some were kind, others controlling. One young man, Stephen, promised to build her a bigger shop if she closed the current one. Angel refused them all. Her vision wasn't just about books, it was about empowering young minds, especially young girls who rarely had the chance to learn and go to school like her one morning. Angel noticed the villagers gathering together and talking, and of course her curious mind wanted to know what was going on. The peace of Lamb village was disrupted by the arrival of a group of foreigners. They came in, their cameras and notebooks in hand, seeking knowledge about local agricultural practices. When Angel saw them, they looked like the white people she had read about, but they didn't look like the foreigners who introduced Christianity to them. Their attires were bright in color, exactly like it was written in her father's books. Their eyes were nicely shaped. They were Koreans. Among them was a young Korean agronomist named Min Jae. Unlike the others, Min Jae wasn't interested only in the crops. He wanted to understand the people. The next day, while the other researchers spoke in clipped tones, Min Jae wandered into Angel's bookshop. He wore a simple cotton shirt, dust on his boots, and a smile so warm it seemed to melt the barrier between their worlds. "Good afternoon," he greeted in carefully practiced English. "I heard there's a place where stories live here. Is it true?" Angel raised an eyebrow, half amused. "Well, you found it. But stories don't just live in books, they live in people too." "I didn't know you could speak English so well," he teased. "Then I've come to the right place." Angel smiled and was immediately captivated by his looks. Their conversation flowed effortlessly. He spoke of his village back in Korea, where his grandmother taught him about ancient herbal remedies. Angel shared tales of her father's teachings under the baobab tree. By the time Min Jae left, he had borrowed a book on African proverbs and promised to return it. Angel went home that evening to check her books on Korean history and learn more, so she could impress the foreigner. Days turned into weeks, and Min Jae became a familiar visitor. He often arrived with small gifts, tea from Korea, handmade bookmarks, and once a potted herb he said reminded him of his home. Angel felt a connection with him she hadn't experienced before. Not just attraction, but a profound respect for the way he listened. Unlike the suitors from her village, Min Jae never once suggested she abandon her dreams. He understood her dreams and aspiration. They would spend long afternoons discussing the parallels between Korean and African folklore, and also discussed the similarities in both cultures, like the wearing of traditional attire for special occasions, their rice-based dishes and others. Min Jae even attended one of her storytelling sessions for the children, sitting cross-legged among them and laughing as heartily at the kids. On some evenings, they explored various dishes by eating together, but the villagers whispered, "Angel is wasting her time with that foreigner. What future could she have with him?" Even her mother warned her, "He is not from here, Angel. When he leaves, will you be able to bear it?" Angel didn't care about their opinions, and they continued to spend time together. The trouble began when Min Jae's team discovered a rare medicinal plant in the fields. The news spread quickly, drawing the attention of pharmaceutical companies eager to capitalize on the discovery. There were a lot of foreigners coming into the village. Tensions rose. Some villagers accused Min Jae of trying to steal their resources. Angel was heartbroken by the accusations, and she confronted Min Jae. "Is this why you came here, to take from us?" She remembered all she had read and the stories her father told her about the slave trade. Min Jae's face fell. "No, Angel, I came here to learn, not exploit. You have to believe me." Angel was accused by some villager that she had revealed all their village secrets to her love interest. But trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. Min Jae and his team were thrown out of the village. Months passed. Angel missed him terribly, but focused on expanding her book center. She taught literacy classes, held workshops, and ensured the villagers understood their rights regarding their land. Then one evening, as the sun dipped low, a familiar figure appeared at her bookshop door. It was Min Jae. "I had to come back," he whispered, "for you, and for this village." He presented a letter, proof that he had fought to secure the village's rights to the rare plant, ensuring the community would benefit from its discovery. Angel was happy to see him. He told Angel how miserable he had felt when they were apart, and he wanted to move things further, only if she would agree to marry him. And she accepted Angel and Minjae got married beneath the baobab tree where her father once shared stories. Their love had not only overcome cultural differences, but also proved that with shared vision and respect, two hearts could build a life together. And together, they planned to come back to Lam to transform it, blending tradition and progress, and proving that true love was not just about companionship, but about growing together, rooted in dreams, nurtured by understanding, and blossoming with hope. For anyone watching this, do not settle, and women, be reminded that you were made for more. Do you, the world will adjust. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.